Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Good evening and welcome to Direct Connection. Just ahead tonight, the latest research on how to make a New Year's resolution stick. That's coming up. First tonight, we're just days away from the Christmas Eve launch of a revolutionary new space telescope, which will be controlled from Maryland and will hopefully reveal some of the secrets of the universe. Joining us to answer your questions tonight is Dr. Klaus Pontoppidan, project scientist at the James Webb Space Telescope at the Space Telescope Institute. Klaus, thank you very much for joining us. We've seen some pictures of the new hardware. People may be thinking it doesn't look like, this kind of telescope.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And by the way, thanks for having me. It is a very, very different design of what you're used to. And a big reason for that design, why it looks so different, is because it's a telescope that doesn't operate in visible light. It operates in infrared light. So this is light that is redder than what we can see with our eyes. And there are good reasons for that. A big reason is the reason for the original purpose of the telescope, which was to find the first galaxies in the universe. These are galaxies that are so distant that the Hubble Space Telescope can't see them, because galaxies that are very distant in the universe have their light redshifted. It means it shifts to redder and redder colors as it travels through the universe. And by the time it gets to us, it's too red for Hubble, so Hubble can't see them. But Webb can. So that's a primary reason for that.
There's an example image from the Hubble, one of the most famous pictures it's taken, called The Pillars of Creation. And the initial image is just gorgeous, and everybody's seen it. It's the clouds of whatever that is way out there somewhere. And then you produced a second image, I guess using whatever infrared capacities that Hubble has, demonstrating what this might look like, the same area of space, if shown entirely in infrared. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, no, that's right. And that's another good point. Whenever you put such a large, powerful telescope in space, whatever the original reasoning was, it can do lots and lots of different things. And so this is an example of another thing that you do with infrared light, and that is that you can see through dust and gas. And so in this case, in the Pillars of Creation, it's called the Pillars of Creation because this is a cloud that is actively forming new stars and planets right now. But this formation of stars and planets happens inside these clouds of gas and dust. It's like a fog, and you can't see through it if all you have is visible light. And so once you go into the infrared with Webb, you can peer through this dust, and you can see what goes on inside those clouds at unprecedented precision and resolution.
The new telescope, hopefully the launch goes smoothly. It'll be in space, so it gets above the atmosphere, but it won't be anywhere near the region where the Hubble telescope is.
That's right. The Hubble Space Telescope is in low Earth orbit. It's just a few hundred miles above ground, orbiting the Earth. The Webb telescope goes out 1 million miles away, 4 times the distance of the moon, to a point in space that is technically called L2, or Lagrange point 2. This is a special point in space that allows the observatory to follow the Earth around the sun, keeping more or less the same distance. And a reason for that, again, is it's an infrared telescope. So what you also have to do to make an infrared telescope work is you have to keep it really, really cold. So the telescope is kept at almost minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So if the telescope was close to the Earth would just heat it up. It wouldn't work. So it has to be put way out in the cold outer reaches of space on the other side of the moon's orbit.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about the Webb telescope, the Hubble telescope, what might be out there, give us a call at the number on the screen or send an email to livequestions@mpt.org. One of the videos that you sent us is a famous image, but it looks like an ordinary image. So this one takes a second to explain. It was a deep field shot from Hubble. The way I've heard it explained is if you took a drinking straw and put it above your head and looked through it, that little sliver of something is what this is showing. And within it, there were all these dots, which weren't expected to be there. And many of the dots turned out to be galaxies, not stars. Stop me when I get this wrong. And this animation is to show that you're going to be able to look even farther.
That's right, yeah. So this is called the ultra deep field. This was created by Hubble by staring at an empty point in the sky literally for days. And it was a bit controversial even at the time, where people were saying, well, this is not a good use of this expensive telescope time to just stare at an empty point in space. But after it was all done, what that image revealed was that it was just full of galaxies. And it actually allowed us, this image, to count how many galaxies are in the universe, about 200 billion of them. But it also revealed a limitation of Hubble, namely that it couldn't see the first galaxies that appeared in the universe. Like, a telescope is a time machine, right? Because light travels through the universe at some finite speed, the speed of light. When you look far away, you don't see objects as they exist today, because it's taken time for the light to reach you. And so the farther away you see something, the older it is. And so if you can see really far, you can see the first galaxies in the universe theoretically. But Hubble found that it couldn't see them. And a reason is that the universe is also expanding. Right? And so a galaxy far away sends out some light. As the light travels through the universe is expanding with the light, and it stretches the light. And as it stretches the light is a wave, right? So it stretches the wavelength of the light, is what it means. It makes it redder. So one way to think about it is that old light is red, and really old light is infrared. And so these very first galaxies we think existed that formed just about 100 million years after the Big Bang, some 13.5 or 6 billion years ago, were never visible to Hubble. No matter how long you would stare at some place in the sky, Hubble would never see them. You'd need a telescope like Webb that operates at these infrared wavelengths. And so we think that Webb will be able to create new images like this, but they will contain those first galaxies.
In my feeble way, I've been trying to think about that idea that you're seeing light from billions of years ago that's traveled billions of light years. What I wonder, and forgive me if this doesn't make sense, but imagine we're in a planetarium and there's a domed ceiling, and you've painted on it only images of the oldest stuff that's, where the light has traveled for billions of years. Would it be uniform, or would it be lopsided? Would there be most of the old stuff is over here and there's nothing over there? I guess it's a way of asking, like, where are we in the universe?
That's a great question. It's a fundamental property of the universe that it looks the same no matter what direction we're looking in. So whatever you point the telescope in this direction or the opposite direction, you see, of course, you don't see the same galaxies, but you see the same kind of galaxies, the same structures everywhere.
Is that going to be true when Webb gets turned on? That it looks the same generally wherever you look?
Yeah, that is true. And so if you want to find a place where you can see the first galaxies, it's not so much about finding the right place to see the first galaxies in terms of those galaxies. It's more, you don't want something else to be in the way, right? You don't want, our own galaxy to be in the way, for example. So you pick a spot that looks out of our own galaxy. So there's nothing else that interferes with that. So literally what looks like a blank point in the sky.
One piece of good news with this project is that it was put under the management of the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore near Johns Hopkins, which is just great news for your community of scientists and the whole Maryland scientific community.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So our role with Webb at the Space Telescope Science Institute is really very much the same as it was for Hubble. Is that after it's launched, and in particular after it starts its science operations, where it just regularly takes science data, we operate the telescope. We have the added part of Webb in addition to what Hubble did, was we also have the Mission Control Center, the Mission Operations Center, as it's called, on the Homewood campus at Space Telescope. And so 30 minutes after launch, when the observatory is detached from its rocket, control is then relinquished to the control center right in Baltimore.
Phone call from Peter in Prince George's County. Peter, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
First off, let me introduce Peter. My name is John Fair. I'm a caregiver for Peter Hyde. Peter Hyde is sitting right next to me. He was at the beginning of the Hubble Space Telescope project, and he worked at the Space Telescope Institute in Baltimore from the inception. Anyway, I have him here right now. I know time is short, so Peter, just say hi.
Hi, this is Peter Hyde. I just want to say that I really enjoyed the years I worked on the Space Telescope, and I'm very happy to follow any further progress.
Peter,
with the
it's
the old one.
Delightful to hear that, and we appreciate the phone call and all of your work. Klaus, how much fun is this? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong, which, knock on wood, we won't need to talk about. But when you get to turn it on for the first time, what will that be like?
Oh, gosh. I can't wait. I've just said I've been working on this for 11 years. There are people who have been working on it for much longer. It's been 25 years in the making, this project. I think to see it working and see science data, see these first beautiful images come down will be an indescribable experience. It's obviously the experience of a lifetime. I know I will not get such an opportunity again. And I'm just so grateful that I've been given the opportunity to be part of this historical project.
Viewer email question wants to know why the design life of Webb is only 5.5 years, although it has fuel for 10 years. Why was it given such a short design life? And related to that, what are you working on for the next generation? Okay,
good questions. So the design life, that is really something that is limited by what the engineers who build the parts feel that they can promise. So if you have a moving part, you test that part, you move it so many times, and you know how many times it has to move during its lifetime. And so that is how long you can guarantee it. That doesn't mean that it can't function longer than you've tested it for, but you've only tested it for the 5 years. If you want to test something for 10 years, it gets more expensive to do. It takes longer. And so the 5-year requirement was a balance between cost and time and so on. But I think we always emphasize that it does have a 10-year goal. And we feel confident that it's likely that it will last for much more than 5 years.
And in just one sentence, will you use it to look at anything in our solar system?
Yes, excellent question. Yes, we will. We can point at anything in the solar system from Mars and outwards. And we are basically observing pretty much everything already in the first year
Klaus,
in the solar system.
We're going to leave it there. Klaus Pontoppidan of the Space Telescope Science Institute, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And joining us now for our Your Health segment are Dr. Janaki Deepak, Associate Professor of Medicine at the University of Maryland School of Medicine and pulmonologist and critical care physician at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Also, Julia Malamed, a certified tobacco treatment specialist at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Thanks to both of you for joining us. We're just days away from New Year's resolutions. Julia, if I can begin with you, what helps somebody go from a resolution to a commitment to success?
I think people need to find their own reasons for wanting to stop smoking, even if it's something like, I want to save more money, or maybe you notice that your breathing has been a little more difficult recently. That seems to inspire some change in people.
And doctor, we know tobacco use has declined in recent years. Still a lot of deaths in this country that can be traced one way or another to tobacco usage. What do you see in your practice?
So we see a whole host of tobacco-related diseases, the usual one with the lung diseases, the heart diseases. What people forget is it can also cause what we call as peripheral arterial disease, where your arteries in the legs and your hands get really narrowed and you have lack of blood supply. It can cause thinning of the bones. These are not things people usually relate to tobacco-related diseases. So it is, and of course it causes cancer. And unfortunately, one of the most orphaned cancers, I would say, is lung cancer because it's related to tobacco. And because it is so linked to tobacco, there isn't the amount of empathy and there isn't the amount of uptake for things like lung cancer screening.
And everybody who smokes knows it's bad for you, but this is an especially tough habit to break.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, we know nicotine itself is addictive. How does that work?
Nicotine changes the brain so that people who are using nicotine start to feel that they need nicotine to feel safe. It changes our safety signals. So when you ask somebody to stop smoking or stop vaping, that feels very painful to them. That feels like they're walking into fire, and we need to offer some more help in order to combat what nicotine has done.
What sort of help is most effective in your experience?
Using combination medications and combine that with counseling so that people feel they're supported and they have connections in case insurance isn't covering the medications. And that combination together really seems to offer people the tools they need to stop smoking or vaping.
Doctor, tell us about the medications and how that may have changed in recent years.
So I'll talk to you about the medications, but I want to take a step back and address the word habit. Nicotine, so the use of nicotine, whether it's in combustible cigarette form or it's in vaping form, is not a habit. So we need to move away from terminology where it's not like getting up in the morning and brushing our teeth. It is more like a chronic disease because we know that nicotine actually affects the brain beyond the survival center. It causes pathways in the brain which never go away, even if a person stops smoking, and it makes the brain more and more dependent on nicotine. So it's a chronic disease, and for any chronic disease, we do treatment. And the disease I will parallel it with is COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Some people call it emphysema. It is related to smoking. It has use of medications, which are usually inhaled medications for COPD, but there are medicines like controller medicines and reliever medications. Similarly, for nicotine disorder, or what we call as tobacco use disorder, it is a disease which is controlled with controller medications and reliever medications. As of now, the controller medications which are widely used are the nicotine patch, the bupropion or Wellbutrin, and the varenicline or Chantix or apovarenicline. These are the controller medications. The problem with using the controller medications is there is a lot of myth and fake news about use of these medications. For example, people have been told that when they wear the nicotine patch, they cannot smoke, and that is incorrect because no matter how much you wear the patch and you use reliever medications and you smoke, the amount of nicotine in your body never exceeds that you get when you smoke. So there is nothing like nicotine overdose that occurs. And similarly with the varenicline, there was a lot of hoopla and talk about it causing suicidal ideations, but that was actually disproved with a major study where they compared varenicline, they compared Wellbutrin or bupropion, and they compared nicotine patch, and they compared it to placebo drugs, and they found that whether you used nothing or you used any one of these drugs, there was no difference in any of what we call as the neuropsychiatric side effects. So there was actually no difference at all.
Doctor,
that these medicines, sorry.
I was going to pick up on something you mentioned before, the word vaping, which some people use as a replacement, some try to use as a bridge to quitting. I'll ask each of you to comment on that. Give me the pros and cons of vaping.
There is no pros as far as I'm concerned. Vaping is a form of taking nicotine in substantial forms. So you can think about it now, instead of eating one cupcake, you're just eating 2 large football cakes every day. That is what happens with vaping. The amount of nicotine that happens with one vape cartridge is about 100 times the amount of nicotine you get to your brain compared to a cigarette. And I, as a lung doctor, have seen several cases now of vaping-related lung disease, which is similar to COPD. There are reports of vaping-related heart disease. There are reports of vaping-related vocal cord disease and dysfunction, and this is going to become more and more prevalent as our young children are being introduced to this dreadfully harmful agent.
Julia, let me get your thoughts on vaping, and also how you approach things that may be a little bit different at the University of Maryland Medical Center.
Sure. So I think people perceive a lot of pros with vaping. They think it looks like it doesn't smell as bad. Maybe you're polluting less. So vaping deceives you and tricks you into thinking that this is a safer alternative when really it's doing additional damage, and also long term, there's still a lot more to learn. So sorry, I can't remember the next question.
Well, the other part was broadly your approach at the UMMC tobacco health practice, how you maybe differ in what you do there.
So we differ in that we offer a non-judgmental setting. We want to erase stigmas around tobacco use and make people feel that this is a safe place to come to, that we won't shame them or force them to stop smoking. We're here to connect you to tools that will make it easier for you to stop, make you feel more comfortable, and not just stop, but stop long term.
How do you get from stop to stop long term? What have you seen in your experience that really works?
You need to continue using the medicines after you've stopped smoking or using other forms of tobacco. So if you stop everything, you stop smoking, you stop using all of your medicines all at once, then that's a real shock to the system. You don't have any more nicotine coming in. So we need to slowly wean you off to keep you comfortable and maintain that success.
Julia Malamed and Dr. Janaki Deepak of the University of Maryland Medical Center, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, after a 2-year hiatus from productions, students from the Baltimore School for the Arts are back on stage with a holiday favorite. MPT's Nancy Yamato reports.
I'm so excited. I'd say also part of it is just like nervousness. Like nerves are just the biggest thing I think right now.
After a 2-year hiatus from productions, students from the Baltimore School for the Arts are ready to plie and pirouette in front of a live audience again. They have a new take on an old favorite, the Nutcracker Ballet.
I feel like the choreography is very up to date and different, and I'm excited about it.
This time we are going with a more modern twist. It takes place in Baltimore, specifically in Mount Vernon, and these characters are from a middle-class family rather than being, these very wealthy, old money type of people. So you see a lot of design elements that celebrate Baltimore. They have certain connotations. For example, the naiads in the second act were inspired by the sculptures that are in the park near the School for the Arts.
The 83-member cast also includes younger kids from BSA's Twigs after-school program. School principal Rosalind Coffin was delighted to recruit Amy Hall Garner, a renowned African-American choreographer from New York City, to create a show in line with the times.
We were concerned that particularly in Act 2 of the Nutcracker, there is a little bit of cultural appropriation as they're going through the Russian dance and different sorts of dances. And so what we wanted to say is this is a diverse piece. You can see yourself self-reflected in it. We could have it set right here in Baltimore, right here in Mount Vernon, and think about what are the lessons of the Nutcracker that we can take here for our community, that sort of longing to belong, that longing to connect to one another. That's true in any culture, wherever you go. So I think there's something timeless about the story, but I think also we're looking at it from a lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion to make sure that even when we're approaching classic work, that we're approaching it with a sense of responsibility and accountability.
That sense of responsibility also includes pandemic safety precautions, masks for everyone while practicing and performing.
After a while, you definitely get used to it, but at first it was challenging.
I feel like we all have good stamina. Of course, we're going to get a little out of breath, but we keep pushing through.
Much like the professionals they aspire to be, they say nothing beats the energy of performing in front of a live audience and the reward of being part of an ensemble.
It's really fun because you get to make friends, and then not only that, you get to become stronger as a team. So it builds a stronger connection, not only as friends, but you become a family at that. So working together and being vulnerable together, it just creates such a strong environment.
I'm Nancy Yamada for Direct Connection.
Nancy, thank you. That is Direct Connection for this week. Remember to follow us on Twitter and on Facebook at MPT News. Now for all of us at MPT, thanks for watching Direct Connection and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.